Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to my channel, and there we go, we got another event that is going on in Marvel Future Fight right now, where you can basically use all 700 of your tokens in exchange for Mega Tier 2 ticket from the token event shop. That's fantastic. So today I'm going to do an updated list of the top 10 best choices for Mega Tier 2 ticket. Okay, so the criteria that I use for choosing the top 10 best choices for Mega Tier 2 ticket, there are 3 criteria actually. First of all, it is based on the character's value in terms of how costly they are to get in Marvel Future Fight. I consider the X-Gene and Bio Sub have the highest value for Mega Tier 2 ticket because they cost real money. You know, to get a character's gear from 15 to 20, it is going to cost you at least half of your X-Gene or Bio Sub. That's basically what a Mega Tier 2 ticket is doing for you. Secondly, it is based on how powerful they are in the current state of the game. Thirdly, it is based on whether the characters have useful leadership or they have useful support ability, which you can use them very frequently in the current state of the game. So these are the criteria. But just keep that in mind that this is based on my personal opinion, this is based on my own evaluation, and the top 10 characters that I'm choosing today may not be the same that you will put in your top 10 list. So everyone has their own ranking list, right? But this is based on my personal top 10 list. Feel free to leave your character list in the comment box below, we can discuss together. So for today's video, basically I will rank those characters accordingly from number 10 to number 1. But before we get into the top 10 list, let's quickly go through those characters that are not in the top 10 list, but they are worthy to be mentioned. First of all, we have Crescent with her latest uniform, the Lifestyle Series 1 uniform. She is pretty good with her tier 3, especially in Extreme Alliance battle, and especially against Proxima in World Boss Ultimate. Other than that, she doesn't have any value at her tier 2, and that's why she's not in the top 10 list. If you are not about to tier 3 her, just save your ticket. There is no point of giving her a Mega tier 2 ticket if you are not going to tier 3 her. Because basically she's just a Shadowland character at her tier 2, to be very honest. Moving on, we have Gambit. The reason why he is not in the top 10 list, simply because you are not going to use him that much, because there are a lot of characters that can do far better than him, especially the Blast type character. There is no space for Gambit to even squish into the top 10 list among all the Blast type of characters, but he is worthy to be mentioned for Mega tier 2 ticket. Then we have the Crystal Purchase characters. The reason why they are not in the top 10 list, simply because you can always spend Crystal to unlock them and get them to tier 2, while you can't spend Crystal to get Lunar Snow BIOS or Spider-Man 2099 BIOS. So in this case, I won't include them in the top 10 list. But in terms of power, Mystic is by far the best among all the Crystal Purchase characters. Additionally, she is very good as a support character, and she also has a very good self-leadership. So yeah, it's not a bad idea to use a Mega tier 2 on Mystic. Even without her Awaken skill, she is still decent. She doesn't even need a uniform to be good. So you can consider Mystic actually. Then we have Blue Dragon. She is very good as well. She is doing quite decent, especially against Ebony Maw in World Boss Ultimate, and she's also good in Alliance Conquest. But in terms of power, she is not as good as Mystic. Again, you can also spend Crystal to get Blue Dragon, so it is not necessary to spend a Mega tier 2 on her, but she is not the bad option. And then we have Emma Frost and Sabretooth. They are good, especially with their latest uniform. Without their latest uniform, they are just not good, not worthy of the Mega tier 2 ticket. So that's something that you might have to take into consideration. And about Iceman, don't go for Iceman. He is not worthy of the Mega tier 2 ticket at all. And then we have Professor X, Negasonic and Rachel Summers, the Danger Room characters, where you can have the opportunity to pull their BIOS from the Platinum or Vibranium chest or the Challenger chest as a reward, but that is very rare. The chance of getting their BIOS from those chests is very low. Out of 100, maybe one is lucky enough to get their BIOS, and that's why I didn't include them in the top 10 list. But in terms of power, Professor X is basically belongs to the God tier range. If you are lucky enough to get Professor X from those chests, he is totally worthy of the Mega tier 2 ticket. He is way too powerful in all the PvE game mode. He is a God tier character even at his tier 2. whereas Negasonic and Ratio Summer are basically the Shadowland characters, so they are not really worthy of the Mega Tier 2 ticket. Okay, so now let's get started with the top 10 list. Number 10, we have Valkyrie. To be honest, Valkyrie basically has zero value as a standalone character. You can only use her in some of the low stages of Shadowland, but she is very good as a support. You are going to use her very frequently in all the PvE game mode as a support character because of her tier 2 passive skill. And that's why Valkyrie is being in the top 10 list, while Gambit is not, because you are not going to use Gambit that much in today's game mode. Moving on to number 9 is Colossus. About Colossus, you should only be considering Colossus if you are planning to unlock Strife as soon as possible, and if you don't want to grind his BIOS in that kind of very painful way. I know that Colossus is farmable, but it really takes up a lot of time. It really takes up months for you to get enough of his BIOS to get him to tier 2. It might not be that efficient for you to spend the Mega tier 2 on him, but it is not a bad idea to use a Mega tier 2 on Colossus, because it's very useful as a support character in PvP game mode because of his passive skill. The decreased damage received from superhero and supervillain type character by 50%, which is awesome. You will see there is a lot of top teams in Timeline Battle or Alliance Conquest that have Thanos and Jean Grey to team up with Colossus. But keep in mind that he needs his Phoenix 5 uniform in order to have those good stuff. Without his uniform, he's just average or maybe lower than average, and he's not even in the top 10 list without his uniform. So there's something that you have to take into consideration. Moving on to number 8, we have PHYLA-VELL. Yeah, the new character that we got from the Guardian of the Galaxy update. Again, same as Colossus, you should only be considering PHYLA-VELL if you are planning to unlock Gladiator and if you don't want to grind her BIOS in that kind of very painful way. But to be honest, PHYLA-VELL is kind of like a support character in which her tier 2 passive skill offers a 30% increase of all attacks to all universal allies, which is very juicy because you can use her to team up with Captain Marvel or Jean Grey or even Thanos. Then if someone has scored over 7 million in Extreme Alliance battle with Captain Marvel to team up with PHYLA-VELL. So that really increased the value of PHYLA-VELL. Additionally, PHYLA-VELL has some value as a standalone character in some of the lower or middle stages of World Boss Ultimate, whereas Colossus is not really good as a standalone character, and that's why I rank PHYLA-VELL above Colossus. But keep in mind that she needs her tier 2 in order to have those good stuff. Number 7, we have Spider-Man 2099. He is quite decent in PvP game mode because of his annoying webbing skill, the dodge ability and all the iframes. And he is quite powerful in PvE as well, especially against Chorus if he is rocking with a damage proc obelisk or with a PvE C.T.P. And of course he is good in Shadowland as well. However, he is not that good without his uniform. If you are not about to get his uniform, then just save your Mega Tier 2 ticket. But if you are going to get his uniform, he is definitely worthy of the Mega Tier 2 ticket. Number 6 is actually Yelena. She is quite good as a standalone character, quite decent of damage, but just keep in mind that she needs a uniform in order to be that good. Her black suit and her snow suit are quite good in PvE game mode. However, her snow suit is far better than her black suit in PvP game mode. So it just depends on where you want to use her, PvE or PvP or both. Yelena is definitely worthy of the Mega Tier 2 ticket with either of her uniform. Without her uniform, it is better to save up your ticket. Without her uniform, she does not even exist in this top 10 list. So just keep that in mind. Moving on to number 5 is actually Nick Fury. He's an amazing standalone character. He is very good, especially against Proxima in World Boss Ultimate and some of the mid-level of Shadowland. And he has one of the best leadership in the game, the 50% increase of all attack, which is very juicy, right? And he is good as a support character as well, in which his tier 2 passive skill provides you the increased damage dealt to supervillain type character by 50%. And the most important thing is, he doesn't even need his uniform to have all those good stuff. He is good with his base kit, even with his uniform, it's not going to change that much. So yeah, he is totally worthy of the Mega Tier 2 ticket. Number 4, we have Ghost Panther. Same as Nick Fury, good as a standalone character, good as a support character, and he doesn't even need his uniform to be good. But the only reason why I will rank Ghost Panther above Nick Fury is simply because Ghost Panther is unique, he is a universal type of character, and he has the fire damage on some of his skill, which gives you the flexibility in Shadowland which Nick Fury can't. And his tier 2 passive skill is a little bit flexible than Nick Fury because Nick Fury tier 2 passive skill only applies to hero allies, while Ghost Panther tier 2 passive applies to all allies. So there's a difference. Moving on to number 3 is actually Sentinel NIMROD. First of all, he is not bad as a standalone character in PvE game mode. He is super tanky in both Timeline Battle and Alliance Conquest, and he has one of the best PvP leadership, the debuff, the remove all debuff leadership, and he is very good as a striker and as a support in World Boss Ultimate because of his 4 skill that provides an all defense now that stack up to 75% for 7 seconds, which is very useful because you can use him to team up with White Fox and one main attacker. Once you press Nimrod 4 skill, just switch it to your main attacker and you will see how strong the damage is when you get the all defense now. But keep in mind that you need to have his Nimrod uniform in order to be that good. Without his uniform, he is not even exist in this top 10 list or even the top 20. So yeah, if you want to tier 2 him, you need to buy his uniform. If you are not able to buy his Nimrod uniform, just skip this character. Number 2 is NAMOR. Obviously, if you have a 6-star NAMOR right now, what are you waiting for? Just mega tier 2 him instantly and get him to tier 3 as soon as possible. He is just fantastic. He is a god tier in all the PvE game mode. Even without a C.T.P, he is still doing decent damage. So yes, he is totally worthy of the mega tier 2 ticket. Number 1 is Lunar Snow. Obviously, she is way too powerful. If you have a 6-star Lunar Snow right now, just mega tier to her, no question to ask. What are you waiting for? Just go ahead to do it and get her to tier 3 as soon as possible. She is so freaking strong in all the PvE game mode. You are going to use her basically in all the PvE game mode. She can do very high stages of World Boss Ultimate and Shadowland. She can achieve extremely high score or maximum in both Extreme Alliance Battle and Scorch Battle. And she can solo Master Mode and Galactus Giant Boss Raid easily with the right build. She is freaking awesome. She has a healing, she has an immunity, and also she has an entice effect, which is awesome. So Lunar Snow should always be your number 1 choice. Alright guys, so that's all my top 10 best choices character for Mega Tier 2 ticket. Again, this is based on my opinion and this is based on my own evaluation. You don't have to necessarily follow what I say, but this is my top 10 for Mega Tier 2 ticket. Feel free to leave your comment in the comment box below if you think that I didn't include some of the characters that should be on this list. Let me know in the comment box below, we can discuss together. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell so that you will be notified when I upload those good stuff of Marvel Future Fight. And of course, thank you for your support and thank you for watching.